What's up, guys? It's Bussian here coming at you with another 40 card starter, and today we are looking at Pegasus, a starter deck from all the way back when there was only three other starter decks. This one, the Joey one, and the previous wave where we got Kaiba and Yugi's starters. So let's jump right into this one with our boss monsters. It's a bit difficult which one to go with first, Relinquished or Blue Eyes Toon Dragon. They both require another card anyway to come down to play, at least one, to even allow you to bring them down into the game. So, yeah, I don't know. Let's go with Relinquished. Probably the most interesting card from those days. Um, Ritual Summon was new, and any other ritual summon card was just that, straight up no effect. You ritual summon it, most people were just like, well, why waste so much space in my deck? There was some flexibility to it compared to fusion monsters, but yeah, I mean, let's be honest, it was pretty much a waste of space to go with ritual. Not with relinquished, only one star to be tributed, and actually what relinquished does is absolutely brilliant. Um, Basically, it allows you to steal one of your opponent's face down or face up monsters. If it's face down, then Relinquish will stay nil-nil. But if it's a face up, it would absorb the attack and the defense value of that monster. And instead of it being removed, the attached creature gets removed if Relinquished is taken out by battle. On top of that, your opponent takes the extra damage whenever relinquished would deal damage. It doesn't hit back through to you; it hits back through to your opponent because we've absorbed their creature. So super fantastic. Um, I absolutely love the art, by the way. Let's just focus on the art there for a second. Look at that beast. Fantastic. I do love relinquished a lot. It's a lot of fun to play with. But because we're talking about Pegasus's deck, of course we do get some Toon monsters as well. I did cut out Manga Ryu Ran, and I'll talk about it why later on. But the main one for us is Blue Eyes Toon Dragon. In effect, giving us access to the best of the Kaiba and the Yugi starter as well. Toon Dragon, Summon Skull, they're both there, but of course we do need um, Toon Worlds to bring them down. And the last one that actually doesn't require a tribute summon is Toon Mermaid. Now, what's cool about these Toon monsters is that they can attack your opponent's life points directly unless your opponent also has Toon monsters in play. Now, it's unlikely they will, but if they do, when then it's just battle as normal as usual. They can't attack the first turn they come into play, and you have to pay 500 life points each time your Toon monster, any one of your Toon monsters wants to attack. So silver linings there, but we still have some very, very, very powerful monsters to beat down with. Now, this Pegasus deck is very different from the previous three I've shown you guys. I've shown you guys the Joey, I've shown you guys the Yugi and the Kaiba decks. This is a control deck. So that's why there is so much emphasis on the boss monsters. And when I was selecting the 40 best cards, at first I wanted to just completely take out the Toon monsters because you do need Toon World to enable them. There isn't again much. There is a bit of card draw in here that we get. Has a little much better card filtering actually in this deck than any other ones. Um, but you need to be very careful still how you play this deck. But it's the emphasis on not what we have seen for any of the previous three decks as well. Basically, try and bring out the most powerful monster as soon as you can. Here there is a lot more intricacy in this deck, and actually this makes this probably the most skill intensive deck out of the four. I say this with a bit of a smile on my face. Okay, and then the final card, the only card where we don't actually need anything else, we can just tribute summon for it, is Illusionist Faceless Mage, predominantly for that 2200 defense. That can be very useful, so we normally will want to tribute summon into face down defense position, this illusionist faceless mage. Okay, so into the effect monsters, I talked about a little bit of a card selection. We do get a copy of Witch of the Black Forest. Mind blowing. Like on top of getting relinquished, 2 monsters, we also get Graceful Charity in this deck. We also get a Witch of the Black Forest. So, you know, if you went out and you got 3 of these when they came out, you were set for a really good, really good deck. Especially if you didn't have to play by the limited list, because I think Witch was pretty much limited as soon as it came out. Okay, so we got one Witch of the Black Forest. It gets us. It searches for another monster with 1500 or less defense. Absolutely brilliant card. We also get one Sonic Bird. Helps us quite a lot with Relinquished. Witch can get you Relinquished. Sonic Bird can get you the Ritual Summon spell card. So we actually can. They kind of play as doubles for Relinquished, and our trap card, Black Illusion Ritual. Bit of removal here. We get Mask of Darkness for traps and Armed Ninja for spell cards. This is going to be a big theme. These are puzzle pieces for our control elements. So, Mask of Darkness brings back a trap card from our graveyard, so it kind of goes with the theme of Witch of the Black Forest and Sonic Bird, whereas Armed Ninja is actually a removal. It does remove ideally a spell card from our opponent's field. Man-Eater Bug is a monster removal, and so is Dream Clown. If we pull off Dream Clown, it can be actually very useful if we can protect Dream Clown, bring him down in attack position if it survives the turn, and we can change him to defense position, then he's going to be able to destroy one monster on your opponent's side of the field. That can be face up, face down, doesn't matter. And we also have Hain, fantastic card, again, very annoying. Kind of functions as a Man-Eater Bug, but it returns to hand. But it can return our monster to our hand as well. And then for a little bit more defense, we have Giant Soldier, Aquamodur, and Toon Alligator. Only with 1600, but it's still nothing to scoff at, especially when you look at some of the previous decks, and really 1500 is the average attacking power. Toon Alligator is going to be doing a cracking job in actually stopping some of those attacks. Sorry. So this is our defensive lineup. And we don't have much firepower. We have a Rogue Doll for 1600, a Urabi for 1500, and a Red Archery Girl for 1400 and 1500 defense. Could be even useful as a defense monster. And that's it. This is our entire monster lineup. So what we have left to operate with is going to be all about spells, all about the traps. So first of all, we have Change of Heart. I can't stress how great this card is, and it allows us also not only to use one of our opponent's monsters, but also to use that monster to tribute for Illusionist, Faceless Mage, or Toon Summon Skull if we have Toon World out, of course. We got Monster Reborn. Again, just absolutely fantastic card, probably the MVP of the deck. But we do get Graceful Charity. None of the starter decks got a Pot of Greed, but I can't believe that they just put Graceful Charity into the Pegasus deck. So again, just absolutely fantastic. Not only getting Relinquished, which we also get Graceful Charity. Fantastic card. To buff our monsters, we get a Yami, and the Yami will have an effect on Toon Summon Skull, Illusionist, Faceless Mage, Witch, technically Mask of Darkness, not that it matters too much, Aquamodur, and Rogue Doll. And anybody can run with the Black Pendant, which is pretty cool. Increases any monster's attack by 500, and when it's sent to the field from the graveyard, it also inflicts 500 points of direct damage to your opponent's life points. Again, 3 of this would be much better, but the one copy is what obviously we have access to. Rush Recklessly, a much better reinforcement, but I think we also still get reinforcement in the deck. Yeah, we do. Rush Recklessly is fantastic, and we also have Stuffed Defense, which can be very useful, especially considering we haven't really got much to work with when it comes to hitting through those 2000 attackers, 2000 defenders even. Dark Hole, Fissure for monster removal, and we also have Ring of Magnetism. Ring of Magnetism is an equip spell, and you equip it to a monster on your side of the field. It loses 500 attack and defense, but all the monsters on your opponent's side of the field must attack the monster equipped with this card. So imagine putting this on something beefy enough to survive some hits. For example, you could have an Illusionist Faceless Mage in defense position. Yes, it does go down to a 1700 defender, but it probably still going to be able to take some hits through, and maybe that allows your Dream Clown to then go ahead and remove something on your opponent's next turn. And of course we do have the enablers. We got Black Illusion, Ritual, and we have Toon World to be able to bring our main boss monsters into the game. Besides that, going alongside with Armed Ninja, we have Remove Trap, MST, Dispel, Magic Jammer, and 7 Tools of the Bandit. So this is our control package, really. What we see here, and even Mask of Darkness bringing back one of the counter spells, can basically be considered as the core for our control package. Yes, on top of this we also have Man-Eater Bug, Hain, Dream Clown, Dark Hole, and Fissure to also remove our opponent's monsters, but we want to be constantly controlling the board the best that we can until we don't draw into either a Relinquished, scoop something up, or be able to Toon World out. Ideally Toon Summon Skull. That would be the absolute best. That's the dream. That's the absolute dream. So this is the package that we work with. In terms of just a little bit more monster removal, we have one copy of Trap Hole. We also do have Waboku, and we do have an ultimate offering, and the ultimate offering can shine in this particular case by being able to summon and then tribute summon. So you could summon, tribute summon into a Blue Eyes Toon Dragon, for example, or a Toon Summon Skull or something like that. And yes, we do get one reinforcements and one castle walls, which just seems to be in all of the starter decks, really. I also think ultimate offering is in all of them. Just let me quickly have a look if it's in the Joey one. If it's in the Joey one, then it's actually in every single one of the... Yep, it's there. So every single one of the 4 starter decks got ultimate offering. Ultimate offering, reinforcements too. Ultimate offering and reinforcement is in any of the 4 stars. Okay, so what did we cut out for this 40 card set? Well, first of all, we cut out our final super, which is Griffin Wing. That does not need to be in this deck whatsoever. I mean, this is a very, very, very specific card. They must have thought that, well, because we are giving so much value in the form of Relinquished, which the Still Change of Heart, Monster Reborn, graceful, of course, then they just made the final super rubbish. I wish they would have given us a super witch. That would have been amazing. But yeah, I mean, this is great for a side deck. When your opponent activates Harpy's Feather Duster, all of your opponent's magic and trap cards are destroyed in place of your own. It's kind of anti-Raigeki. There's no need for it because, again, if I'm considering just these 4 decks in a vacuum as playing them against each other, then you're never going to need Griffin Wing. Also taking out Robin Goblin because whilst it would be great to assume that we're going to be dealing direct damage to your opponent and then randomly discard cards, Robbing Goblin would only work if we had 3 copies of Toon World. We would completely go in on the Toon thing, and then even then we would probably be running 3 Toon Mermaids and Toon Summon Skulls. That would probably be it. By the time you get off a Toon Summon Skull or a Toon Mermaid or Blue Eyes, Robbing Goblin is not going to be really useful, and the rest of our monster lineup is not designed to be doing direct damage. So Robbing Goblin had to go. One that's a little bit more debatable is Enchanted Javelin. When your opponent's monster attacks, increase your life points by the attacking monster's attack points. So rather than taking damage, you actually gain damage, and that is supported with a Dian Keto. But again, whilst it is important and it could be something said for trying to keep alive longer so we have a better chance to drawing into Toon World or Relinquished, I still think that the cards that we've settled on and just keeping the pure control feel of the deck doesn't really leave much space for the heal effects. Soul Release, whilst it's a fantastic card, absolutely no need for it in this matchup. The best thing you can do with this Soul Release is to make sure your opponent doesn't have access to their best monster from their graveyard, but then they're just going to use Monster Reborn on your graveyard, so they will always be able to get something back with Monster Reborn. So there really isn't any need for Soul Release. Then for the monsters, I removed Jigen Bakudan. Um, it is. I don't think it does quite enough. After this card is flipped, offer its tribute during your standby phase. Destroy all monsters on your side of the field and inflict damage equal to half of the total attack of the destroyed cards, excluding this monster, to your opponent's life. It doesn't do enough. For sacrificing your entire board, it doesn't do enough. If you're in a position where you got some of your boss monsters out to be able to deal actual damage with this guy, then you're gonna probably win anyway. What if you sack your entire field and then that's not it? It's kind of like, if you're gonna win the game, you're probably gonna win the game anyway. If you would need Jigen Bakudan to explode your entire field to win the game, then you probably wouldn't win the game anyway. Hero's Shadow Scout just doesn't do enough. Flip, your opponent draws 3 cards, both players check the cards, and any magic cards among them must be immediately discarded to the graveyard. Well, we already have so much stuff to interact with our opponent's magic and trap cards. We don't want to actually give them 3 cards. What if those 3 cards are all monsters? Then we're just giving them a draw 3. That's just not good. Muka Muka, increase the attack and defense of this card by 300 points for every card in your hand. We don't really have that draw power. Muka Muka would work if we had access to, well, first of all, Pot of Greed, Jar of Greed, Upstart Goblin. These things would be needed for Muka Muka to even be considered anything. But realistically, you would want to have a 5-6 card hand. I mean, if you do have a 6 card hand, then this guy's like 2400 attacker. That's not really going to happen. That's not going to happen. You will be wanting to set a lot of your stuff. You will have stuff in play. Muka Muka just not gonna be there. And I decided to cut the 2 dragons, Manga Rioran and Rioran. Rioran is good and Manga Rioran is great, but they are double tribute cards. Now, if we had what was the Soul Exchange? If we had Soul Exchange instead of Griffin Wing, then I would keep one of them. I probably would keep Ryoran. In fact, the initial build, when I didn't run any Toon, Ryoran was one of the main beaters. But we don't really have any specific pump for fire or dragon. The only thing we have is the Black Pendant, 2 tribute for the Ryoran for a 2200 attacker. Maybe it would be good with the Ring of Magnetism as a defender. Still 2100 defense, that would be pretty good. But again, it's 2 tribute. And the only thing that can help us to get there is Change of Heart and Ultimate Offering. And then Manga Ryoran is dead, but on steroids. We're not even talking, I mean, it's a deck card until you draw into your Toon World. You might not draw into your Toon World. The only thing that can help us draw into that is Graceful Charity. Prioritizing Relinquished, prioritizing Black Illusion Ritual is obviously the way to go for this deck. I kept Blue Eyes in just because it is a massive beater. If you do get him down, he's probably going to win the game. Toon Summon Skull is doable, but realistically, Toon Mermaid is going to be the viable option if you do see Toon World. At least you can summon Toon Mermaid without any tributes. So the two dragons unfortunately had to go. I love them. I I think the manga Ryoran art is great. I think Ryoran's just funny that you got this massive dragon still in its egg. I really, really wanted to keep him, but the kind of like the move was that, you know what? No, we need to run the Toon monsters in general, but we can't run too many, and there is definitely not space for two double tribute Toon monsters. So that was my selection, and please let me know what you think about it. Would you do something different? Have you tried something like this? Uh, Please like if you haven't done it yet, and make sure you leave a comment below as well. Subscribe, it makes sense. Peace.